as we enter the month of October, we're gonna see what the latest polls are in each swing battleground state, and as well as fill our map and look at past elections from recent years. So let's start with the polls that we see right now. So currently in the polls, Harris in the popular vote has about a 2.8% lead. That's not that much considering if she only has a 2-point lead, she about only has a 45% chance of winning. Don't get me wrong, there's still a very big chance that she might win, but this is concerning for her that she's at 2.8 because at her prime, she was like at 3.7, 3.8. So this is worrying for Harris. But anyways, we gotta look at the top swing state polls. So in Arizona, Trump has now a healthy lead of 1.1, which is pretty good for him, as well as on the betting odds and poly market. Trump has a 64% chance of winning Arizona in the betting odds. And on the Real Clear polling website, which is typically more accurate, Trump has a 2% lead in Arizona. So without a doubt, Trump will win Arizona, but we still need to put in our other states. So for our safe states for Kamala Harris, it will be just the traditional ones. Everyone knows these states, and these are my safe states that I'm gonna put in. And then for Donald Trump, it's gonna look pretty similar, but with a couple of differences. Donald Trump starts with 103, while Kamala Harris is ahead with 131. Now, with the likely states, these are states that are going to be decided by a margin by 5 to 14 points. This means that these states are going to go to the candidate, but it's going to be a little bit more competitive. These states include Oregon, likely for Kamala Harris, New Jersey, and especially now is New York. Now, New York is a very blue state, and it hasn't gone blue, and it has been solid blue ever since Michael Dukakis in 1988, where he only won it by a lean margin. Every single election then, New York was a solid margin. So that's very bad for Harris that New York is now likely, since a poll there is now only putting her 12 points, and on average around 13 points is where I will put it. We also have Colorado. Colorado might actually become solid, but it's still probably not. Colorado did go to Biden in 2020 by around 13 points, which is pretty good for him. And the polls right now in Colorado suggests that Harris will win there by around 13 points as well. So we're going to put Colorado as a likely blue state. In New Mexico, according to the polls, she's winning there by about 8 points, 8.4 to be exactly. So New Mexico will also be a likely state, but New Mexico might become a crucial battleground as Hispanic voters keep leaning to the right. And then we got Minnesota. Minnesota is considered a battleground swing state, but this election is probably not going to be that competitive. Harris holds a 5.9 advantage from her, a significant downgrade from what it was when it first started at 9.2. It's still a win, but because it's so narrow, I'm actually going to put Minnesota as lean blue. Even though Tim Walz does give her a boost, that boost is probably going to be of like 1 point maybe. So actually I'm going to put it as likely, but very narrowly, almost lean. Probably around like 5.5 points is where I would put it. Then we have Virginia. Now Virginia is a reliably Democratic state. And according to the polls right now, Harris is winning there by around 7 points. And Virginia only started becoming this Democratic around the year 2008 and 2004, because Virginia was a very reliably red state, and sometimes in a couple elections, it sometimes even voted solid red. And ever since 2008, Virginia didn't vote blue for until 1964. But then on 2008, the state flipped to Obama, and it hasn't voted Democratic. It hasn't voted Republican since. And I don't think Kamala Harris will break that streak, and I bet that Virginia will go to Kamala Harris by around 6 points. Then we got New Hampshire. New Hampshire is another swing state battleground, but Trump has recently stopped his campaign on New Hampshire because he quote-unquote says that it's not winnable anymore, which, according to the polls, is true, with Harris holding a steady lead of 7.1, and the latest poll putting Harris winning by 11 points with third-party candidates. And as you can see, no polls has shown New Hampshire as being a lean state. And even if you show more, no polls with Harris on the ticket, except for this one by prior to analytics, that puts Trump +1. And this was back in July, so Harris wasn't even the candidate anymore. But once Harris became the candidate, no polls put her below the likely margin. So we're gonna go ahead and put New Hampshire as a likely state, with Harris winning there by, I think, also like around 6.5 points. And then we got Maine at large. Now, Maine at large, if Biden stayed in a race, it will probably be a very crucial state. Not crucial, but probably like a very a battleground. So Maine polling is kind of weird. So, in August 21st, there was this Maine polling that was very wicked, putting like Maine at large with 17 points. That's a solid margin. Maine first district, solid margin. But like, I mean, it is gonna be a solid margin, but this is way bigger than expected. I expect Maine's first district to be solid by like 22 points, not like 29. And most shockingly of all, Maine E2, that we're gonna go see that later. But the latest poll right now do put Maine at large as Harris 0.9. So we're gonna go ahead and put Maine at large as likely blue. And to be honest, that poll almost puts it, if you average it out, almost puts us a solid at around 14 points. But my prediction is that Harris will win Maine at large by about 8 to 10 points. So I think that wraps it up for the likely territory of Harris. Actually, we have one more. Nebraska's second district is actually kind of a battleground. I mean, I don't know if it is. It kind of is. So if you go here, Nebraska's second district. Now, of course, please don't trust New York Times, Siena College polls. New York Times is not a good poster. That's been proven multiple times. Like, seriously, just don't trust them. So the polls that are actually good here from Survey USA, Change Research. I mean, no, this one is Democratic leaning, so that one no. But all polls that actually are good do put Harris as likely more. Even in CNN, which is a very good pollster, puts it as Harris 11. So Nebraska second district is gonna be likely. Now for likely states for Donald Trump is gonna be Missouri. So Missouri is kind of, not really, but Missouri is kind of competitive this time around. and according to the polls. So we're gonna see right here, Missouri. So this is a massive step up for Harris because 12 points, that's not bad considering that Biden lost it by 15.3. This is a pretty good boost. For Missouri becomes solid to a likely state. That's not bad at all. And then of course we got some other states that are likely, that are gonna be pretty obvious. Ohio, likely. There was a poll from New York Times that put it as 3, but again, New York Times is not a good pollster. New York Times once put it Trump winning the popular vote, which it might happen, but like chances very, very low. Then we got Texas. Texas is a reliably red state, but if you know what is happening, if you know election cycles, you will know that Texas is leaning to the left. In 8 years, Texas has shifted 3.3 points to Harris, and on 12 years, Harris has shifted 10 points for Harris. And on 16 years, 6 points. And then on 20 years, a whopping 17 points towards Harris. That's not bad at all. Now, am I saying that Harris will win Texas? Absolutely not. Harris won't win Texas, and I guarantee you she will not win by a good margin. The polls right now says by 6.1, and I agree with these polls. I think it's going to be a little bit tighter, but I do think that Texas will go to Trump by about 5 to 7 points. Then we got Iowa. So, Iowa is an interesting one. So, Iowa is known for was actually a Democrat state for Obama elections, and it was actually a swing state. And ever since the Obama election, Iowa has now been very, very conservative and rural. So this was in the Obama elections, and this just 4 years later with the Clinton election. Yeah, not very Republican uprise. And then 2020, it was even, kind of worse. Basically the same margin that Clinton won in 2020. But yeah, that's pretty noticeable. Now, the polls actually say that, and this is an A+ poll, Selzer Cole is the best pollster of the United States, or one of, definitely top 10 best pollsters, Selzer, by the Des Moines Register-Medicom, and it shows Trump only winning by 4 points with third-party candidates. And as you can see, it was not that way with Biden. As you can see, Biden was doing very bad on Iowa. So according to this poll, and according to some other polls, Iowa is going to be a lean Republican state. So then we got South Carolina. We don't have any polls, so it's probably going to go to Trump by a likely margin. It's not going to Trump by, say, solid. But we don't have any polls there yet, so. Then Alaska is another interesting one. So with Alaska, Alaska has, it's putting, Alaska Survey Research is a pretty good poll, which got its almost spot on 2020. With every other poll being bad for Trump, and it puts Trump only winning by 5 points, and other polls only 10 points. So if you average that out, that's only about 7 points. That's a downgrade from I think the 10.1 points that Biden won in it. So Alaska will be a likely margin. Oh my gosh. Anyways, so now we got Maine 2nd District. So Maine 2nd District is not really a state district that we think about in elections, since it's usually very conservative. But as you can see here, in the latest polls, there is like a significant Harris that's going up there. And now this Harris plus 5 poll, actually it's only one poll because this one just includes third-party candidates. And so if you see this is probably not going to happen. This is probably an outlier, and this is probably because of that poll that put in Maine at large at 17 points and Maine first sister. So that kind of messed up for the other districts. So we actually got a recent poll that's more accurate, that shows Trump 7 points, and that's what I mostly agree on. But University of New Hampshire Survey Center, which puts Harris plus 5, is actually kind of a good pollster. So we gotta put that in mind too. So if I average that out, in a way that I expect to, Maine at large is probably gonna go to Trump at about 4 points. And then we got Florida. Florida is a state that, yet again, Florida actually used to be a swing state that was very crucial for everyone. And as you can see here, on the Obama elections, Florida went to Obama by a lean margin in 2008, and same in 2012, therefore by tilt, actually. And Florida used to be a very crucial swing state. As you can see right here, in Bush versus Gore election, Florida only went to Bush by 0.0009, I think. Even worse, I think. This was a very, very competitive state. So if I put it lean is 0.001, I mean, I don't know, man. But it was competitive, as you can see right here. I'm on mobile, so I can't really see it. 0.0009, about there. So, and it actually went Democratic in a couple elections before. But now that Florida isn't really a swing state anymore, it's still kind of competitive. Trump won it by 1.2 in Clinton, and Trump won it by 3.4 in Biden. But Republicans are going up there. I do think Florida will go to Trump by about 4 points. Maybe even likely. Now we got the crucial swing states, battleground states. And these are the true ones, the most competitive out of all of them. So let's start with the most shocking one by far, North Carolina. Now, North Carolina is Republican. It has voted Republican on 3 straight elections in a row, and it hasn't voted Democratic ever since the Obama election of 2008, which was a landslide. So you got to keep that in mind. So in the latest polls show North Carolina on a deadlock. Very, very competitive. As you can see, the polls have shifted around very much, Trump plus 6, Trump plus 6, Trump plus 3. If you show more polls right here, Trump plus 2, Trump plus 2, Trump plus 3, and then Trump plus 2. And then even, 4, 1, 1, 2, Trump 2, Harris 1, and then Trump 6, Trump 2, Trump 3, Harris won, and then this part Harris started winning by a lot. Harris won, Harris 2, Harris 3, Harris 2, Harris 2, even, Trump 2, Harris 1, Trump 1, Harris 2. And keep in mind, this Harris 2 poll is by Fox News, which is a Republican news center. Allison Tell, Harris +4, Harris +2, and then the most recent one, Trump +2. And it also has shifted around in the average a lot. Like August 21st, Harris took the lead, and then Trump turned it even. Trump +1, even. Trump +2, Trump +4, Trump +5, Trump +4. And then after like a while, Trump was having a secure lead. Eventually, it even became lean, and then boom, next day even, and then it stayed even. Trump +1, and then next day it went to 0. Harris +2, and then Trump got the lead again, and then Harris got the lead, and then Trump got the lead, and then just yesterday Harris got the lead, and now Trump's got the lead back. So like, it's been flipping back and forth a lot, and like, it's probably gonna be one of the most, maybe like the second most competitive state, because I think Pennsylvania will be a little bit more competitive. But for now, we're gonna actually put North Carolina as Harris. Oh yeah, if you hear sounds in the background, that's my air conditioner. I thought I turned it off. Whatever. Then we got Pennsylvania, and yeah, this is probably gonna be the most competitive state in my opinion. Now the polls do show that Harris is winning by 0.8 and a couple points, even 2.3 and stuff like that. I disagree with that. The latest polling does show actually Trump winning, but like for some reason it's only these three, and one of them is 2 of them are Republican leaning. So I don't really trust these. Allison Tell maybe. Patriot Polling, Trafalgar Group, absolutely not. So I'm putting Pennsylvania for now, based on the polls that are not biased. I'm gonna put Pennsylvania as Harris plus 0.34, but of course this might change a lot, and I wouldn't be surprised if on election night I see Trump project their winner, because it's tight. It's gonna be tight, and you can't disagree with that. But for now, still Harris. And then we got Michigan. Michigan is already down in the bag for Harris. Like, to be honest, if you say Michigan's going to Trump, you're not even taking it seriously anymore. Like, Harris has, again, like Allison Tell, like New York Times. These polls are, I'm not trusting Allison Tell. Like, bro, these polls are so bad. Like, Trump isn't winning Michigan by 4 points. All the other polls, like, all of the other ones put Harris winning. If you show more polls, literally all of them. Only like these 2 odd ones in New York Times is like very bad. Allison Tell, I never heard of them. So I assume they're bad. And then Michigan is probably going to be a lean state for Harris. I assume like 1 or 2 points. Wisconsin has very bad polling, which is why I think it's going to be one of the most competitive states. So, to be honest, the poll there sucks so much. I'm not even going to see them. They're probably going to be like Harris plus whatever. And then we got Georgia. So, Georgia actually it's kind of like a North Carolina, but more right-leaning, because it also flipped back and forth. Like at the start, and then it was even, and then Harris took the lead, and then Trump took the lead back of a very healthy lead, and then Harris took it back and started getting a good lead, and then Trump took it back, and it hasn't shifted ever since. So it's kind of like North Carolina, but a little bit less competitive. And to be honest, Georgia is basically already, like, Biden won by such a small margin that, like, I'm pretty sure just, like, I'm pretty sure that even if the election was like only 1 year away, like if the election happened in 2021, I still think Georgia would go to Trump. So Georgia's probably gonna be like a 0.9, almost lean. Then we got Nevada. Now Nevada polls sometimes are bad, but they're kind of like mid. So we're gonna check them out, and right now it's Harris +1. And just a few days ago, just a couple weeks ago, it was actually very, very competitive. Even just now, actually, like 0.4, that's competitive. And there was some times that it was even. Some parts, even Trump was winning. Just in 9/11, September 10th, and then even, it's also very competitive. But as of now, almost every single poll puts Harris above, except for this right-leaning one, Trending Politics. So I'm gonna put Nevada as lean blue for now. To be honest, I would guarantee you 2 states that will 100%, 4 states that will 100%, actually 3. Yeah, 3 states, 3 swing states that 100% go to either candidate. Nevada and Michigan, if I needed to bet money, I would put them as Harris, and if I needed to bet money on Trump swing states, I would only put Arizona, which I already told you at the start of the video is gonna be maybe even lean. Yeah, lean. So I would bet Nevada and Michigan will be for Harris, and Arizona will be for Trump, and then the other states I would refuse to rate them. Even with money on the line, I will refuse to rate them. They're too competitive right now. So all the other states, I feel very confident, except for Georgia, North Carolina, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin. These are the only states that I have question of it. Nevada, Michigan, they're gonna go for Harris. Arizona too, and all the other states 100%. So here is my new map prediction with Harris winning 292, 246. Again, this is a very tight election, and I wouldn't be surprised if Trump wins this. Again, it might change any moment. Maybe next time, maybe next week, Trump will surpass in my prediction. So this is my beginning of October prediction and my analysis. Anyways, hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'll see you next time. And if you guys enjoyed this, would you mind subscribing? It's free and you can always change your mind. So, goodbye.